The introduction into the world of CRM and Salesforce. I have planned to make this presentation based on my experience in the past years, and I think it can be pretty useful for people getting into the system or generally curious about CRM and particularly Salesforce. So the outline of this presentation is why do we do it, brief history of CRM, how Salesforce is specific as CRM system, and some specific areas to Salesforce like data modeling, security, automation, and visualization. First, why do we do it? So, customer relationship management system is really useful to track customer data as it suggests. And cool thing is that we have the data on a single place. We have some automated actions based on this data. We can, for example, send emails, we can schedule some reports, we can make some automated jobs. We can also do much more stuff here. We can do integrations with the data that we have, offload the data to other systems, etc. There are some core benefits of Salesforce. One of the biggest benefits is that the initial setup is pretty easy, so you don't need to obtain some hardware. You basically pay a license, and then you are able to start. Based on the license that you pay, you can have some options already pre-configured, some, for example, data model set up already, but more on that later. Easy start is there or is granted there due to the fact that you can customize the data model initially. You can build automations without code. You can extend the system quite easily in a configurable ways, and you have a lot of flexibility with programmatic ways. It's also aligned with the business terms. So, for example, based on the area, if you are working in sales, for example, you're dealing with opportunities, with leads. Salesforce is leveraging this terminology, and same it is the case for service, for marketing. So, this is another advantage that it often fits the business needs, and you don't need to make much fine-tuning or just some smaller changes based on your needs. Also, advantage is that the data is backed up in the cloud, so Salesforce is taking care about the data and the backups, and it's also guaranteeing that nobody else, even it's a shared platform, is able to see your data. So regarding the brief history of CRM, this idea is basically documented by Salesforce, started or is dated around 20,000 years back when the obsidian knives were traded in Papua New Guinea. And already there, the people had to keep some information about who could be the potential client, where they can sell the knife, where they can bring it from, and they were basically tracking the trade chain. So yeah, the history is pretty long already. The idea is not new. The idea of CRM. Then further, the term of CRM itself originated within 20th century, and it was focusing on the following areas: tracking of customer data, managing customers' interactions, automations, and providing some reports and more. Specifically for Salesforce, there are these pre-configured options like Sales Cloud, for example. And when talking again about the specific terminology, Sales Cloud is leveraging these opportunities and leads and some related automation. So, for example, how the lead is being converted later to an opportunity, and how other data like some accounts or contacts, so basically data about companies and their employees, for example, are tracked in Salesforce. Service Cloud is more about handling service requests, so case management, or omnichannel is there, so it's for routing, for example, support cases to the right agents or chatbots. Marketing Cloud is there as a platform for tracking of customer journeys and automating actions based on that. And there are also other clouds. For example, Experience Cloud is quite widely used for communicating data to broad audiences. The licenses here are cheaper than by some other clouds, and they are also acting as high volume licenses, so that you can have a site and users can visit it in like bigger amounts. Thousands of users can visit these sites and interact with Salesforce in some like lightweight form. There are many more clouds. If we see these graphics from Salesforce, the family of the products is still growing. Now there is a big growth in relation to Agentforce, where basically you are able with some prompts configure the agents, and the agents are then aiding the employees in their tasks and automating some tasks or helping with analytics. So here we are actually seeing uh, the core products, which should provide some customer 360 degrees view. And for each of these products or many of those products, there are some additional agents which can help with the activities there. I will not focus on the individual products here. This would be very extensive, but probably in some next series. Regarding some areas that Salesforce provides out of the box that simplifies the workflow or design of the system, one is data modeling. So Salesforce is providing a tool, schema builder for easy configuration or easy visualization of the data model. So there are some objects out of the box in the system. If I switch to Salesforce, you can do it by navigating here to setup, and from setup actually going to schema builder or object manager here on the top. First, if you visit the object manager, you can see the list of all the objects. So account, for example, for data about companies, asset about assets, then contact is a typical one about individual people, etc. This is something out of the box. Then for visualization between these objects, which hold the data, so object can be seen as an aggregation of individual fields. You can see it, for example, as a tab in, for example, Excel, and then each column can be seen as a field here in Salesforce. So you can see account name, for example, account number, so that would be as a columns in Excel. And then for each of these, you can have, like for one record, you can have each of these populated. Yeah, so this will be then the rows in the table. These data entities can have relationships, and for that, Salesforce is providing out of the box a tool called Schema Builder, where you can have different relationships, lookup and master detail relationships. They have some specifics, but in principle, lookup relationship is a field that is pointing, it's like a loose relationship, not so tight, to other object. So here we can see that there is a relationship, for example, created by from vehicle. So if we have some data model where we have vehicles and it was created by some user, this is provided by this lookup relationship. We are able to select here the user, or the user is auto-selected when creating the record actually. But by owner, we can select the user, for example, or change the owner from a drop-down, and this is then populated in the lookup field. We can have another type of field which is called master detail. This is more, I would say, rigid relationship. It is affecting the visibility of the data, where the child records are visible for users who have visibility of the parent records. And again, you have to select here from a drop down the parent record when creating the record on the child side. So this is something provided out of the box from Salesforce. Another thing is that Salesforce is providing a data model gallery. For individual clouds, there is a data model documented. If you would search for Salesforce data model gallery, you can see the data models for each cloud. Another area is security that can be easily defined in Salesforce, and this can be divided into two areas. One is configuration and metadata access. This is controlled by so-called profiles and permission sets, which basically control what the users can see in the system, and for example, which objects they can see, which objects they can create and edit. So this is access to configuration and metadata. Another layer is access to the data itself. These mechanisms are called sharings, and it's about access to individual records. So typically when discussing the security, you have to go through both of these areas, or you have to consider both of these areas. There are some auditing options as well. You have setup audit trail and field audit trail, which allows you either to track changes in the setup, some configurations related to Salesforce, or field audit trail for tracking of changes on the field level. For automation, there are different ways out of the box how you can automate actions. So there can be declarative phase like flows, approval processes, scheduled reports, and also there are some older mechanisms which are not suggested to use anymore, like process builder and workflow. And you can achieve pretty much with these. If it's like some simpler automations, not some integrations, but you can even achieve some integrations with these mechanisms, you can use, for example, flows. And with flows, here again, you can find it over setup and find it here in the quick find box. If I would go to new flow, you can see how many of these flows are offered. So you can have a screen flow for some visual guidance, schedule triggered flow if you want to start, for example, some automation in 1 week or every day, every month. You can have also platform event triggered flow. So this is another kind of automation. You can have also record triggered orchestration, which allows you to sequence the automations that you have, and many more. So the family of automations is pretty wide here, and you can achieve a lot with that. Salesforce is extending it still. So it's recommended if you are able to achieve something with declarative approach, and it's not overly complex and will not be hard to maintain, to go with the declarative way. Because of the visual guidance, maybe some faster adjustments, you don't need also some coding skill set for that. So it's more friendly for people who don't have like directly development skills. And for needs which cannot be covered by the declarative approach, there are the programmatic tools. It can be like triggers, scheduled jobs, batch jobs. This is done by programming language called Apex, or if talking about some front-end changes, so it's typically Lightning Web Components, or some a bit older technologies like Aura or Visualforce. Now we are coming to the area of visualization in Salesforce. You can visualize things in many ways. Again, there are standard ways and custom ways how you can achieve things. You can achieve pretty much with standard approach. It's again preferred, with some page layout adjustments like moving fields around, screen flows as we have seen here. So you can create a sequence of screens, for example, and put some additional comments as needed, or some follow-up actions. And also you can configure reports and dashboards quickly in Salesforce. So this is really helpful for evaluation of the data, and sending of these, for example, in a scheduled manner. Custom mechanisms can be the Lightning Web Components, Aura components, Visualforce pages, and Lightning pages. This is more technical, so we will not get into that now, but it gives you a lot of flexibility and you can achieve almost any requirement in Salesforce with some specifics. So you sometimes need to adjust it, but yeah, you have definitely ways how to do that. And I would say that's it to this session. So it was really like high level about Salesforce capabilities, what is out of the box, what is the preferred approach, what are eventually the ways to choose if you don't want to go the standard way. And in the next sessions, I would like to focus more in some specific areas, maybe a little bit deeper areas, technically, but also on the business side, maybe analytical side. So stay tuned, and I hope you like this video.